Hello, I'm Kaylee. I'm an INFJ 9-wing 1, and this is Grace, my sister. You've probably seen her before. She is an ENTP 8-wing 7. So today we are going to be doing Grace's interview, and before you go, check out the description box below. It will have my website linked below and Grace's channel. She also has a YouTube channel where she talks about the Enneagram. Do you have anything you'd like to say before we get started?
I don't think so. Let's do this.
Okay, Grace, how did you first discover what type you are?
So I had a friend who told me about the Enneagram, and then you were kind of finding it at the same time. And I took a test online, and it told me I was a 7. And I was like, yeah, this sounds just like me. I'm super fun. I like to have a good time. I don't want to be sad. Yeah, I'm a 7. And everyone that I knew who knew the Enneagram, and I would talk to them about it, they were like, you are not a 7.
Yeah, I remember we listened to the Enneagram songs by Sleeping at Last, and I was like, I think you might be an 8, Grace.
Yeah, I think it was before that we found. Anyway, yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm not a 7. So I was like, okay, probably I'm an 8, and I started going to an Enneagram class that a church in our town was having, and I went there, and I was like, yep, I'm definitely an 8.
Yeah, I think for you it was a little bit more difficult than mom and dad. It was super easy, and Harrison, it was super easy for them to find out what their type was. I think maybe because they're a little bit more, assertive in their type, or...
Yeah, because I am the social 8, which is the counter 8. So when I went through and read, these are the things 8s think, and this is the way they feel about stuff, I was like, okay, yeah, I feel this way, I think this way, but I don't think I come across as, intense or bold or whatever as the descriptions would make it sound.
Yeah.
So then when I learned about the counter 8, because when I knew other 8s, and I was like, I don't think I am like them very much, But then when I learned about the counter 8, I was like, okay, yeah, that's me for sure.
There you go, it clicked.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and you have a 7 wing. How do you notice your wing in your everyday life?
My go-to is what do I need to do to get stuff done? And this is boring.
Yeah. You have that assertive.
Yeah, I definitely do. I notice when I'm out with friends or something and I can be kind of more light about things, then I'm definitely going to lean on that 7 and just kind of joke and have a good time, and I can take a pie in the face, it doesn't bother me to be silly or goofy. So I think that's definitely one way I can see it. And again, that assertive. Even when I am not trying to, I'm still taking charge in life. Yeah.
Okay, what do you consider to be your biggest achievement?
My biggest achievement? Mm-hmm. Oh, geez. I don't know. I have been married for a while, and that feels like an achievement to get married and stay married. Yeah, I guess I feel like I have a really good family life. My marriage is good, and then I have my son now, and I feel like I'm a really good mom. So I think that would be something I've achieved. I mean, I have my business, and that's going well, and we bought a house, and
normal life stuff.
Yeah, it's nothing. I don't think I've achieved anything amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, those things are amazing. They're just, yeah, it's, I think, kind of the grass is greener where you water it, and
right.
where your priorities are is where it's gonna really, you're gonna see the efforts of the product of your efforts.
I would say that I have had such good close relationships. I feel that's an achievement, because it is a lot of work, especially as an 8.
Well, okay, going into this, what are your 3 best qualities?
That I'm honest is number 1. I will just tell you straightforward. I am not going to beat around the bush. I will tell you 100% of the truth, 100% of the time. I would say second, that I can be very loyal, to my people. I will do anything for them. Sometimes I feel I'm loyal to a fault. There are people that I'm I know they would not do as much for me as I would do for them, but I already decided I would do it. Mm-hmm. So honesty, loyalty, and then I think I can be very, open-minded about things. I can, objectively listen to someone about what's going on in their life and be open-minded about, okay, yeah, I can, maybe that's my 9 wing a little bit, okay, I can see where you're coming
9 or
from.
7, really.
Yeah, and 7 too is like, who am I to judge? You know, whatever helps you sleep at night. So
Yeah.
I think I can be open-minded about, okay, what...
Yeah, not so much where you might see a stereotypical 1 ingrained to being like, no, you should be doing that, you should be doing this.
Right.
You're not in...
Like, if you ask me for my opinion, what do you think I should do? I can tell you what I think you should do, but I'm not gonna, like, preach at you about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When do you feel the most confident, and when do you feel the most insecure?
Geez. Maybe I should have, like, read these ahead of time. Okay, probably I feel most confident when I am, like, when I'm given the opportunity to, like, talk about something that I really know. Like, maybe I go to 5 and I'm like, okay, I actually have the information about this. I know what I'm talking about. And then I can present that to everyone. Like, here's this thing I learned all about. Let me tell you, it's going to change your life. So I think I feel most confident when it's like, here I am, like, presenting information to these people in front of me. I would say probably, like, when do I feel most insecure is, probably, like, when someone, maybe the vulnerability, like, someone starts asking you, like, so, like, let's talk about these things that, like, make you really sad. Let's talk about... Then I'm like, oh, gosh, like, why are you... why are you... This is just feels so uncomfortable. Then I can also feel really, not insecure, but, like, when people are just, like, constantly questioning, like, okay, why are you... What do you mean by this? What are you doing by... Then I could just kind of feel defensive. I don't know if that's really insecure.
Yeah.
But...
Well, what's so funny is Dad, who was my... 7 wing 6, he said when he feels most confident is when he's gone to 5, knows his information, and then goes on a stage to present it.
Okay, so we have the exact same thing. Yeah, like,
yeah.
Okay, here's this information, then let me get up and tell you. That's why, like, doing my channel and stuff, like, I do feel confident that I'm, like, giving my audience the best information possible, and I've thought about it, and I've delivered it in a creative way.
Go back to college, become more educated.
I know, yeah, that was I've only gotten, like, one really negative comment, and they told me, go back to college and come back, or go get your master's degree and come back in 10 years. You're inarticulate and, what was it?
Something.
Immature. And I was like, you know what? Like, if you would have talked about my nose, like, yeah, you know, maybe I would have felt defensive about that, but, like, inarticulate, immature, those are 2 things. So, like, no, I'm not those things. Sorry, I can just completely...
It was so funny. But hey, if they talk about your nose, then we'd all get defensive. So.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, family, that matters. Okay, okay, what does your inner critic tell you?
First of all, I don't really have an inner critic.
That's the same thing.
I haven't even watched this video. I don't know if it's posted or not, but I haven't seen it. Okay, what would my inner critic tell me?
If you had an inner critic, what is it saying?
I guess maybe a critical voice I would hear in my head would be like my 2 mom telling me, be nice, be a lady. Maybe I would hear
just like that.
Yeah, that's how it sounds in my head. Probably the, like, you're too much kind of voice, like, tone it down, take it back, take it down a notch.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel like I'm, like, criticizing myself. Like, I'm not saying, you're bad, you're awful, okay, I'm sorry, you know? But it's more like, okay, these people are not wanting to have this conversation, you're bringing this up, so you need to shut up and not make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I would be like, it's more like an inner restraint on myself, not that I'm, like, actually criticizing myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And what was funny was, it's just like you and Dad are so similar. You guys
are 7 wing. I don't know.
Yeah, you guys are so similar. And Dad said he didn't really have an inner critic. Maybe it would tell him to be more responsible. But yeah, the difference with, I think, that 7 and the 8 is it's not, you know, hearing that one voice, but you're hearing that 2 voice of be nice, restrain yourself, be quiet,
right.
Don't say it like that. It'll come. Right. They won't get it. They won't understand. You're gonna hurt their feelings.
Yes. Yeah. Like don't say that. You're gonna make them upset.
Yeah.
Don't
Which
say that.
Which
You're
look really similar.
Right. Yeah. It could. Yeah. I definitely like the one who's always like, you're not good enough. You're not doing it right. Like, I don't have that at all.
I should probably have that a little bit more.
Yeah. Maybe I should. I don't know. But yeah, I don't. It would definitely be like, be nice.
Don't say that. Don't do that.
Don't say that. Don't bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah, not family dinner conversation.
Right. They don't want to talk about politics. They don't.
They don't want to talk about stupid conspiracy theories.
They're not stupid. It's real.
They're real. Okay. Next is, what is the best feeling and the worst feeling?
Okay, so my first thing that comes to mind, like, it probably makes you sound like stereotypically 8, because I think best feeling, like a physical feeling of like, the best feeling I can think is like being at a concert, like standing right on the ground, like right next to the stage, and like everyone's singing around you, and like the lights are shining, and you can like feel the bass on the ground, like that just big feeling of like, we're in a stadium full of people that are like all doing this together. We're all singing this thing like at the top of our lungs. That to me is like the absolute best feeling. Like there's 5,000 of us and we're all like screaming as loud as we can.
Bigger than life.
Yes.
Larger than life experience.
Yes. But then like also at the same time it would be like standing on the beach by myself, like watching a sunrise. Like it's completely quiet and like the water's still and it's just like watching the sun come up. So I don't know. That's,
so
of course,
intensity.
Yeah.
Complete peace or complete noise.
Yeah. Like overstimulation to the max, or like the most calm thing you can think of. Did other people say emotional feelings? Was that what I was supposed to say?
Some people, I won't even tell you. Well, actually, what's funny is the thinking types. It's I finally figured out the right thing. I finally understood. The feeling types, a lot of them were like, hugging my baby. When I realized that I was whatever, when I finally pushed on, very much I did this thing, and and then my doing types. So far, I've only interviewed in one, and he was saying, well, 2 ones, and they were both saying like, when I do this thing, put my feet up at the end of the day after a long day of work. Yeah.
Mine's definitely like the giant crowd of everyone are like, I'm completely alone. It's like just me. There's no one else to be seen. Yeah.
Very physical experience. Okay, and then what is the worst feeling?
I would say the worst feeling is like when something's completely out of my control. Like there's nothing I can do to change the situation. Like especially if it has to do with like someone I care about or myself. Or
having a baby, that was stressful.
Yeah, like giving birth, it's like, I don't know, even then it's like you're still in control somewhat, but just the idea of like, okay, something horrible is like happening in this part of the world, and like there's nothing I can do to make it stop. There's nothing, literally nothing that I can do. That I think is the worst feeling. Like no amount of effort on my part will change this thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
Okay, what keeps you up at night?
Probably like thinking of things that I need to get done. I have a newborn. Well, he's not a newborn. He's 9 months, but he eats like a newborn, so we're up all night anyway. So, I mean, very literal thing that keeps you up all night is a baby. But yeah, it would definitely be like, oh crap, I need to call the tree trimmers and see when they can come out and do this. Did we ever file that paper? I don't know. I need to ask about, now hold on, let me check my bank account. Now, what was this charged for? That's the kind of thing that like keeps me up at night. Or like, okay, there's all these things that I need to get done.
Yeah.
But
what's happening the next day?
Yeah.
And maybe not even plans as much as
no, it's just
reminders.
Like here are all these things. Yeah. I like to go to bed stressed, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, can't die in my sleep tonight. I have plenty of things I have to do.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes that, and then again, like, the state of the world, these things that I can't control. Yeah.
Okay, how do you like to unwind?
I really like to exercise to relax, like, burn off the extra energy. Like, I'm a big fan of, like, yoga, Pilates, walking, swimming, hiking, anything like that. Like, I want to... I feel like I can most relax, like, I can think the most relaxed I've ever felt is, like, going to a yoga class. It's, like, an hour and a half long. You're, like, dripping sweat. You're, like, completely shaking. At the end, you, like, just lay down. You're, like, completely still. You're, like, okay.
I finally did enough.
Okay. Yes, I love that feeling of, like, I'm so physically exhausted. There's nothing else I could do. I'm forced to just sit here and relax. Again, probably intensity, but
yeah, and very much in that. I mean, the 8 is the most doing obvious of the doing types.
Right.
They start the doing group.
Right.
Yeah, just let me live in my body, use it, and that's how I interact with the world.
And if it's not going to be like some hardcore exercise, then it's always like a physical thing. Like I need let me just like sit in a bath, like turn on only hot water, like scald my skin as I'm sitting there, like again, like sweating, you know,
sweat out the pain.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a new person.
Exactly. Yeah. I would never be like, oh, I need to go to the spa and get my nails painted. That's how like I would never.
No. Shopping, online shopping.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Online shopping. No, thank you.
No.
I'd rather walk around Goodwill for 2 hours and not buy
and like
anything.
dig through a bin and be like, I don't need it.
Yeah. Clown of the day. Wonderful.
Exactly.
This is a beautiful clown painting. Think I'll pass. Yeah. Okay. How do you see yourself going to your health point and your stress point? So going to 2 in health and 5 in stress.
I think for me going to 2 is like using my natural drive to do, but to do for others, to like help them in some way, or to think about like, okay, well they probably need me to do this or that, so I don't mind to pick them up or drive them here or whatever.
Argue on behalf, defend and on behalf.
Yeah. Like you can't talk to, she's my sister.
You can't talk to her like that.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But then also just like, 2 is a compliant type, so then I always laugh. I'm like, I can only be compliant when I'm at my best, you know. So I'm like, okay, sure, I don't have to like decide what time we're leaving or going. You can put something on my calendar, like I can work around it. That'll be okay.
Not being in control willingly.
Well, I can definitely see like now that I have a baby, I feel like I've like strengthened that line to 2 in a whole new way, because it's like here's this tiny little person that like needs me all day long, 24/7, you know, and so I think I am pushed in that direction a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay, and how do you see yourself going to your stress point 5?
Yeah, so I would say like, because I am a firm believer that you go to your stress point, it can be a resource for you also. It's not just negative.
Right.
I would say a negative way I go to 5 is when I'm like, okay, I'm at Christmas dinner and I probably brought up a conversation that I shouldn't have. Now everyone's upset and it's just like this whole big mess, and I'm like, I'm done. That's it. I'm out of here. And I just grab my bag and I leave. Like
withdraw.
Physically withdraw. Yeah. I'm done. I'm out of here. Or just in conversations like, I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm done. I'm done. I can definitely like, I feel like I'm done. As I'm doing my hands right now, I'm like, done. It's very much finished. Like, I've had it. Here are my boundaries. Don't bother me. I'm out of here.
8s are good with boundaries.
Yeah, maybe a little
with too their own boundaries.
Yes, yeah. You're not gonna cross mine. Maybe I'll cross yours.
Yeah, I'll pick your flowers
right
in my garden.
But I can also see. I feel like this year more than any time before, I've like really been able to go to 5 in a good way. Where it's like, okay, you know what? Let's actually check our facts before we
are spreading lies.
Yeah,
check your facts before you spread lies.
Exactly. It's like, okay, because 8s, because we just jump to action, we can get ourselves into situations or conversations or anything where we're really out of our league and we don't know it. And so it's like, okay, let's go to 5 and actually ask ourselves, okay, do we actually find the things we need to find? Do I actually know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because you can have the passion and have the spirit, but maybe it's even about the wrong thing and you don't realize it. And you're like, darn it, I didn't realize, they were also doing this.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, gotta look into it some more.
Yeah, that is the good thing about 8s is I could be like 100% Team Blue, yes, we love Team Blue, Team Blue is amazing. And then someone's like, yeah, but don't you know these 3 things about Team Blue? And I'm like, okay, Team Yellow, we're Team Yellow now.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like 8s are good about when they get the information, usually they don't have a problem with, okay, well, I want to have the correct information, so.
Yeah, and being close to that 9 and the 7, they can be, and I mean, being that first doing type, they can be humble and be like, oh yeah, well, I was wrong, I changed my mind.
Yeah, my whole life I was Team Blue, but then I found out Team Blue was garbage, so now I'm Team Yellow.
Unless you decided you're dying on the hill that you weren't wrong.
Right.
Then I think that's
nothing
one thing that you're
change
great at is being like, well, Grace, did you ever think about this? And you're like, my whole life's been a lie.
Yeah,
okay, I changed my mind. Yeah.
Maybe I think that's what I was trying to say was one of my best qualities. So that's what I meant to say, I guess. Like being open-minded enough to be like, to know when I'm wrong, to admit when I'm like, okay, I didn't know this stuff. Now I do.
So the 8 can go to 2 in the way 2 can't, like function as a 2 the way 2 has a hard time with.
Right.
Because the 8 does not have a problem with pride the same way the 2 does.
Right.
And the 8 can be like, well, I look like a fool. I don't whatever, I'm loud, so what?
Yeah, or like, sure, I can give them all this stuff and expect nothing in return. I don't care if they don't like me. I gave it to them because I wanted to.
Yeah.
Where 2 is like, I gave it to you so you like me, right?
Yeah, you like me, right, please?
Right.
Because they're the first in that shame type. Okay, and this is the last question. What are you tired of hearing people say about type 8s?
Oh my gosh.
There's a whole list of things, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I really started doing this 8 channel because all the other ones were straight up garbage about 8s.
Well,
oh my gosh.
Check your facts.
Yeah, before you go spreading lies. I think people just, they have this picture in their head of what an 8 is, and it's so surface level, and it does not get to the heart of it at all.
Yeah.
Like 8s, whether they want to admit to themselves or not, are all heart. It's just the outside is so crusty.
I think of a burning marshmallow. Like,
yes.
It's black and charred, and then you peel it off, and it's gooey and sweet, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're big and tough.
Yeah. And I think, like, the idea with 8s is like, oh, 8s want to take control of everything. It's like, first of all, we're all adults. I don't want to take control of you. I want you to do your own thing and
not take control of me.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And so I think that's a big misconception. Another thing is, all the time, people are like, oh, well, my boss is an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, well, like, how do you know they're an 8? Well, because they yell and they tell me what to do. And I'm like, okay. All right, that doesn't mean you're an 8. Like, people just...
I'm thinking of 7 other types.
Exactly.
No, 8. 8 other types.
Right.
There's a couple.
Right. I'm like,
yeah,
a lot of people just assume that, like, if you're in a place of leadership and you're kind of a jerk, you're an 8. When it's like,
you're probably a 1 or a 3 or a 6.
It could be so many. It could be anyone, you know? And so...
literally anyone can do that.
Yeah, and so I think that's something that I'm like, I get frustrated by. And then I really get frustrated in, like, a lot of videos and books and stuff where they basically just tell the 8, you just need to be more vulnerable. 8s have a real problem with vulnerability. They need to be more vulnerable.
Yeah, do that.
And it's like, okay, we don't tell 1s, like, you need to stop trying to be so good. You know, it's like, we all have our thing that we, like, struggle with. And for 8s, it's just, like, easy for people to pick on that thing. Yeah. But it's like, you would never tell a 2, like, stop bringing people casseroles to make them like you. Stop doing that. It's like, you would never...
Stop showing your love.
You would never you would never say that. So that I kind of get frustrated with, too, because I'm like, okay, 8s we know that we have a problem with this, and we're going to show our vulnerability in our own way. And it's probably not going to be the way that you are asking us to, so just stop. And
something that would be probably more helpful than you saying, you know what, stranger, I'm going to be vulnerable with you. Let me tell you, is more like, I'm going to be okay not being in control of the situation. If the conversation goes the way you want it to, and we end up sitting here, you're giving up a little bit of control instead of being vulnerable, and that's how you're giving up control. Right. That's not always good.
It can feel vulnerable to get caught in a conversation when you intended to spend 30 minutes and now it's been 45, and you're like, oh gosh, I'm like at their mercy. Like, when are they going to stop talking? That can feel like you're in a vulnerable spot. And that's what people don't understand, is, like, vulnerability isn't just, like, let me tell you this about my really tragic thing that happened, you know?
Yeah. And it's a big problem with being in control. Of sitting in traffic and there's a ton of cars around me is horrible because I'm not in control. But I feel like with a lot of 8s, that's kind of more of the struggle, that if they could work on, everything else would be a lot better than just being like, okay, fine, when I meet you, I'm going to tell you about my dead grandma.
Yeah. Is that
what you want?
8s really can fool you anyway, and we can, because we're shameless, we can talk about things that you might think would be a very vulnerable topic to us, and it's not. Yeah. Like, I might tell you about this bad stuff I did and not feel vulnerable in that, but if you asked me, like, to tell you about how much I love someone, you know, then it's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. You know, so it's like, it's definitely, even when people are asking for vulnerability, they're not asking for the right type.
Yes.
Or in the right area. So I'm like, just let it go, people.
Yeah.
That's something I would get tired of.
Yep. Okay, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we go?
I don't think so. Check out my channel. I have some good videos on there. I mean, I think they're good. They might not be because I'm immature and inarticulate. But other than that,
over yourself. Oh my
other than that, Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, and her channel will be linked in the description box below. It's also listed on my page of like pages I'm connected to. Make sure you check out her videos if you're interested in an appointment with either one of us. We both do coaching, and we'll see you in another video soon.
All right.
Bye.